Today, we're diving into a really cool story from a classroom in Kediri, Indonesia. We're going to see how one teacher used some pretty cutting-edge tech to help her students connect with an ancient literary tradition. And really, this whole thing boils down to one fascinating question. What actually happens when you pair one of the oldest forms of human expression with one of the newest? The answer, as you'll see, is pretty amazing.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in a 12th grade Javanese literature class at Sman Watis, and the students there were facing a really specific and, a pretty tough creative hurdle.
So here's the assignment. They had to write a cerkak, which is basically a traditional Javanese short story. But they were hitting a wall, a big one. The students were just getting stuck, right from the get-go. And the stories they did manage to get on paper, well, the plots were kind of weak, and the language just wasn't quite landing.
Their teacher, Irma Fitriana, she looked at this and realized, this is way more than just writer's block. She actually pinpointed 4 very specific obstacles that were really getting in the way of her students' creativity.
First, there was this literary gap. The students just hadn't read enough modern examples of these stories. And think about it, it's super hard to write something when you don't really have any great models to learn from or get inspired by.
Second, and this is a problem I'm sure every teacher listening can relate to, was just simple teacher overload. You've got these big classes, and it was practically impossible for her to give every single student the kind of deep, one-on-one feedback they needed to get unstuck.
The third hurdle was a very modern one, tech fear. Some of the students were genuinely worried that using a tool like AI was, well, wrong. They thought it might be cheating or that maybe the work wouldn't be truly theirs anymore.
And finally, you've got the classic creative rut. You know the feeling, right? The students were playing it safe, sticking with really basic ideas. They were just afraid to dig in and explore the more complex characters and conflicts that make a story really pop.
So what do? Well, Irma Fitriana decided to introduce a new kind of tool into her classroom. But, and this is the important part, it wasn't there as a machine to do the work for them. It was introduced as a new kind of creative partner. And I love how she framed this. She called the AI a media bimbing, which you can translate as a guidance medium. That distinction is everything. The whole point was the AI wasn't there to write the story. It was there to guide, to support, and to spark the students' own creativity. And this slide just lays out those ethical guardrails so clearly. So using AI to brainstorm ideas based on local culture, thumbs up, totally okay. Checking if your plot makes sense? Go for it. But asking it to write the whole story for you? Absolutely not okay. It was a tool, not a ghostwriter. The students were always the authors.
So, with those smart rules in place, the teacher ruled out a really clear step-by-step process that blended the students' own authorship with a little bit of AI-powered guidance.
It was this simple 6-step journey. The students started with their own ideas, they built an outline, and they wrote a complete first draft all on their own. Now look, only then, at step 4, did they consult with the AI partner. This is so key. It was a feedback step, not a creation step. And after that, they went on to their second draft and the final polish. And she didn't just tell them what to do, she showed them how. She actually demonstrated how to use simple prompts to generate themes rooted in their local culture, how to get the AI to create mind maps to help visualize a story, and even how to ask for help with the very specific formal levels of Javanese dialogue.
All right, so after all of that, the million-dollar question, did it actually work? Well, let me tell you, the results were, honestly, a total breakthrough for the entire class. This wasn't just some small improvement. According to the teacher's own reflection on this whole project, this new way of doing things completely transformed the energy and the dynamic in her classroom.
I mean, just look at this breakdown. Student confidence shot up. They weren't afraid of the blank page anymore. The actual structure of their stories got so much better. Their use of the Javanese language was more accurate. And maybe the best part? Classroom engagement went through the roof. And you know that whole tech fear we talked about? This approach completely solved it. The students learned to see the AI not as a shortcut or a way to cheat, but as a helpful co-pilot for their own creative journey. They were always the ones flying the plane. You know, this quote from the teacher, Irma Fitriana, it really just says it all. The big lesson here wasn't really about the AI itself. It was about the thoughtful way it was used. It just proves that any new technology, when you use it wisely and with a clear purpose, can become this incredible bridge to much deeper, much more engaging learning. And that leaves us with one final thought. I mean, this was one classroom, working with one specific tradition. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where else could a smart partnership between new tools and our old, valuable traditions not only help them survive, but actually help them thrive?